This is the 1-year review of the Autonomous.ai Smart Desk DIY Kit for the Smart Office Home Edition base. So you can kind of check out my setup here. This is going to be a short video because I've basically had no issues with this desk. It's really hard to find a motorized desk for less than like $500. And this one is it. And it does everything you need a motorized desk to do. No problems whatsoever. I did cheap out on the desktop. So the desktop there is not the stock one that Autonomous sells. That is actually an IKEA Linman desktop that I bought secondhand for like $5. On second thought, I think it would be better with the solid desk top that they provide, and I probably should have just paid I think it was like $50 for the solid desktop. It just would have made the desk last longer. The IKEA Linman desktop is hollow, so I'm just not sure how many times I'm going to be able to unscrew and rescrew this desktop whenever I end up having to move. But it works and it was cheap, and I can always get a better desktop later. And that's actually, I think, one of the things that I like about this kit, the fact that it is a DIY kit such that you can attach whatever top you want on it. My previous motorized desk was the Costco Trasanti desk, which they had on sale for like $200, which was cheaper than this one. But I think normally it runs for about $300. And while I would say that the Trasanti one looked nicer just because it had a glass top and it was all metal, it just looked a little bit more polished. You couldn't really customize it. Not really easy to make your own modifications to. So I think it's worth it to spend the $250 for something that's a little bit more customizable. And when it's more customizable like that, if you damage a part or like say the desktop, you can just switch it out and replace it. And with the Trasanti one, let's say I broke the glass or some piece of it, I doubt you'd be able to find a good replacement for, or you'd have to get some custom machinery or custom parts done to actually fix it. So I think in the long run, this one will be better, assuming the motor and the lifts stay intact or don't get damaged. I think everything else about it is replaceable. So if you haven't seen before, this is the control for the height of the desk. And I don't know if you can notice, but I never even took the sticker off of the front. And you know what? I'm going to leave it on there so that way in another year I can pull it off and it'll be all nice and shiny and new underneath. I really don't mess with this too often. I have two settings that I use, and then I don't really use the other ones that much. It still works. Let's see what. Programmable settings, I think, are a must, just because you're going to be alternating or flopping back and forth between different modes. And if you're sharing the desk with someone else, it's just really helpful to have these program settings. My one comment or design critique is that I really don't think this M button is necessary. On my Trasanti desk, in order to program something, you just held in on the number at the height that you wanted it at. And I think for this one, you have to push M and then hold that to set it. So let me try setting it. It's been a while since I've done this. And honestly, I do this so infrequently, I kind of forget what I need to do to set a height, but let's try setting a new one. So I don't think I have anything set for 4. So I'm gonna set 4 for the top. See how that goes. Yay. So it looks like 48 is the highest height, and just to give you some perspective, sorry, my room is small and I can't really back up anymore. This is what I can do. So let me try to set 4 for this one. I'm pretty sure you just hold down the M and then push 4 and hold maybe. Does that do it? I don't think that did it. Oh, I think I hold this. Yeah, now it's flashing and then I push 4. Okay. Alright, so I programmed a new one so I can go down here and be like, oh no, I changed my mind. This one instead. Hit 4. And again, talking about how this thing is easily moddable, this control panel is just screwed in to the bottom. So, having that flexibility to place this wherever you want is super advantageous. You never know what kind of office environment you're going to have, and whether if your chair bangs into this or something, you can just move it, no problem. And you don't get that sort of modability in a lot of other motorized desks. This is the IKEA desktop. Actually, this is my IKEA pegboard. It's been really nice. I just clipped it to the back. Actually, this is like an IKEA hacked shelf where I found some legs from IKEA and just a random shelf and screwed that into there. So that way it matches my IKEA desktop. So yeah, I like it in my big old cinema display. I can show you the dimensions. So if you're curious, there are some minimum dimensions for the desktop if you're planning on doing something custom. I think this was the smallest width that would actually work with this base. This is the home edition. I think if you look on the website, I think I don't know what it's called, the DIY Office Edition can go smaller than this one, or width-wise, but you have to double-check that. This one, so this is the IKEA Linman desktop, and this one is 47 inches wide. Yeah, 47 inches here. And then depth-wise, it's about 2 feet, and thickness, I don't think really matters, but in case you're curious, yeah. And this thing's kind of bent, but 1.25 inches. Let's see what this looks like underneath. Underneath, I've got a little more than half an inch on each side. Not a lot of excess for the 47-inch top, so that's definitely the smallest you'll want to do. Depth-wise, I have like less than half an inch on each side. So I do believe this is the minimum dimensions that you'd want to go with for a desktop. I bought the swivel desk drawer. I don't really recommend this swivel desk drawer. I mean, it's helpful to have a little bit extra storage, but really something like this is actually more useful. I did want to install like a regular drawer, but there wasn't actually a lot of depth underneath to do something like that. I only had about 9 inches. Sorry, my measuring tape's a little floppy there, but I measured it out and it was 9 inches till I hit the support bar. So you really only have 9 inches of depth for some sort of drawer to install underneath. And I don't know, maybe if you could get your brackets to go lower than 2.5 inches, then you could install like a hanging drawer that would be deeper than the 9 inches. But I wouldn't recommend it. So in summary, if you're debating on getting this desk, I'd say hands down, just go ahead and get it. It seems pretty solid. I haven't had any mechanical issues. Seems like it's going to last. I'm really happy with it. Have fun with this thing.